A piece of city is never finished. It will always have to reinvent itself. We wanted something that was robust and that was going to last long after we were no longer around.
King's Cross is, in a way, typical of lots of urban master plans because it takes a piece of the city which was used for something completely different, in this case for the railways, and puts it back into entirely new use. The master plan grows out of a process of trying to keep lots of the existing fabric and then laying out a pattern of streets and lanes and public spaces that thread through the site and connect everything together. There isn't a kind of universal grid or anything. The site isn't planned in that way. It's much more incidental. It grows out of the complex shapes and patterns that we inherited. That means that what you get is a big variety of different types of place or space.
A master plan is much less about the architecture than it is about the space between the buildings. It should be a way of beginning to think about how a city can evolve, but not a way of determining it. A master plan has to look out, not in. King's Cross is very much a heritage-led development. What was here before was an industrial site. It was the remnants of a sort of Victorian railway infrastructure. And we were uniquely lucky with the presence of so much that was left. The character of the place is founded on its history. Wherever you are, there is always a glimpse or a connection to a historic building.
Everybody thought we were completely mad when we first bid back in '99, but we saw that it had huge potential. So we really wanted to create a piece of city that had all the things that you would expect from a great city: a place to live, a place to work, a place to play, a place for everybody.
There's a real sense for us of being a little bit of a discovery. And I think the site has that in different areas where there are little pockets of energy which are hidden from view. And so they create a really nice surprise when you turn a corner and you find yourself in and amongst a really buzzing atmosphere which you hadn't expected. The site hasn't been just crammed with as much space to rent and sell as possible. It's been done with respect to the historic structures and spaces, but I think it's that respect which kind of underpins the whole development, which, whether you are consciously aware of it or not, I think you feel it.
It seems like one of the most remarkable transformations within London because it's gone from being such a tear in the city fabric to actually being, such an outstanding example of what you can do. Keeping as much as you can is brilliant, and it's sort of great to see that it isn't just all erased and created from scratch, but actually there's a huge amount of history there. It gives the site a certain authenticity.
People use it in all sorts of different ways, but they have the opportunity to do so. It's different. And I think that's its main thing. It is different because all the buildings are different. You haven't got one archetypal King's Cross building, block of flats, row of shops. You haven't got that. I don't know what it is, but it has something different about it.
When you're in the city, it almost feels like it's a bit too crowded, and when you're here, it feels like you've got your own space.
As soon as you walk out from the modern side and walk across the canal, you feel like you kind of go back in time. And even areas where you might not have that much footfall, they really thought about how that space, which might be neglected, actually looks and feels.
It's just been done really beautifully. The space is just used really well. It's just a really nice spot to have discovered, really, to be able to come to.
I come here with my kids in the summer. They play in the fountains. You have everything here. It's just a pleasant place to be now.
It does seem that King's Cross has become very popular. Possibly part of that popularity is the very normality. It's a very understandable place. It's very familiar to the way London has been made. That's something of a victory in terms of planning, because so often gimmicks or the wish to do something extraordinary get in the way of doing something right.